Welcome to another Human First AI Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague at Avenue 9. You can find us at avenue9.com, where we help people figure out AI in their marketing. My guest this week is Daniel Alfon. He is from Israel. He is the author of How to Build a LinkedIn Profile for Business Success. He also does LinkedIn growth hacking and consulting and helping you build your business, get more leads. DanielAlfon.com is the website. Daniel, welcome to the show. How are things?
Excellent, Mike. Thank you very much for having me. I was looking forward to this.
So we have both written books on LinkedIn, and I'm excited to nerd out with you about it because I think LinkedIn is one of the most powerful platforms. It worries me a little bit that their algorithm, with the vertical video and some of the other stuff they're throwing in my feed, and the AI robots starting to proliferate. It concerns me a little bit, but what I love about it is that it's still like the only human first social media platform. Everything else seems to be created for algorithms, and LinkedIn seems to have a little bit more of a professional feel, an actual human feel, and that the stuff in my feed is people that I know or people I'm connected to, and not just a mass media content platform. Would you agree with that? And I guess the follow-up question is, how come you love LinkedIn so much?
So I want the LinkedIn gods to take note of what you said and to keep this. LinkedIn has been traditionally the professional, slow, heavy platform, and it's becoming a little bit faster, more dynamic. Changes are rolling out faster, but it's still a lot of people hesitate before doing anything on LinkedIn, where they would, do amazingly silly things on any other platform of their choice because it's related to their personal brand.
Yeah, I agree. So I think especially if you're doing any kind of B2B marketing or sales, LinkedIn is the platform. If you're trying to sell a toy or something online, Instagram's probably your better bet. But if you're in professional B2B services, professional services, SaaS, and all the other business to business sales, LinkedIn is really the spot to be. How have you seen AI affecting the LinkedIn platform?
May I say badly?
Yeah. And then we'll circle back to what actually works and what can be good about it.
So as you know, Mike, the automation started way before AI became mass markets. All sorts of tools that LinkedIn banned and LinkedIn prohibited. When we signed the TNC, we say that we don't give any external tool the ability to perform actions on our side. But I guess people are always looking for shortcuts, and the bottom line I would put ahead is that those shortcuts may end up costing way much more time, more efforts, more resources than doing it the right way in the first place. Because if LinkedIn restricts our account, and if we lose contact with our network, it's much worse than a bad campaign. It's our name, it's our brand. It would take years to rebuild. So think carefully before automating anything on LinkedIn. The simplest exception is scheduling, which could work, but even here, it's better to stick around, because if you share something and you're not here to see the comments that people are adding to a post, you're missing out. So try to minimize and ask yourself, is this really necessary or not?
Is there any type of AI that you find helpful or you're using these days? I think outside of LinkedIn, I schedule everything myself and post everything myself and write every comment, myself on LinkedIn, the platform. But I will use AI to chop up this podcast and create shorts and things for LinkedIn, or give me ideas for posts, or even write the copy that I then copy and paste and edit in LinkedIn. That's saving me a lot of time, even if I'm not automating with AI. How about you? What are you doing these days?
I think the only point I would mention is that it's important to have a check yourself And it's very tempting at one point to disregard and to take the prompt or to take whatever you did and simply put it out there. And I think it's wiser to take the time to read it and to ask yourself a couple of questions. Is this my voice?
Yeah.
You have a real life personality. And if people see this and say, this is not Mike's style, these are not the words Mike would use, then we're hurting our business, we're hurting ourselves. Take the time to reread, to check, to guide the platform you're using. I use a lot of AI stuff that's not related to LinkedIn, and it's very helpful, but I never allow it to do anything on my behalf at the time we record this.
Yeah, I agree. I don't do anything completely automated. And I found that some of the tools aren't particularly helpful. There's a lot, like you mentioned, a lot of LinkedIn automation tools or even idea generators and stuff for things to post. And maybe I haven't learned how to use them well enough yet, but I just find it all kind of superficial. It's looking for viral stuff. I always call it the ice cream content. I think what does really well on LinkedIn and for me personally in growing business is the vegetable content, the stuff that like people don't really want, but it's nutritious, it's deep, it's sometimes a little distasteful, but it's nutritious for you, like it's healthy. And the ice cream content that we're talking about on other platforms like TikTok or Instagram or something like that that's just candy. That's just speeding in front of your face. And a lot of these algorithms, even the ones designed for LinkedIn, seem to go towards the ice cream content. They want just something sweet, something people are going to like, something, interesting or funny or a crazy hook that doesn't lead anywhere and it's clickbait. And so I would really caution people, watching or listening to this to really think about how you use AI tools to create trust and connections and make people think and make a difference in their life, not just worry about getting them to stop the scroll. Is that fair?
Trust, connection, making people think. This is way, way more important than anything else we've discussed so far. And the angle that's most important for us is often our networking. And it's very tempting to try and automate things around our networking, but networking really is if a Boston area CEO asks a colleague, what AI agency would you recommend? You want them to say Mike in Avenue 9. And that happens if they know you well enough. And we need to invest in our relationships because otherwise we're leaving a lot of money on the table. Going back to the platforms you mentioned, LinkedIn is probably the only platform there is where you can succeed, Mike, without posting anything. That's amazing, right? Because I cannot become a YouTube influencer without uploading videos. I can't be strong on Instagram or TikTok or whatever without uploading content. But the action that LinkedIn users perform the most based on LinkedIn stats is visiting other people's profiles. In other words, if you want to share content, if you have high quality content, excellent, by all means, do share it. But you don't have to create content for the sake of LinkedIn. Start by making sure that your profile does the work.
I love that. So I'll circle back to the profile because I do want to talk about some profile basics and stuff and help people out there. And I would love to hear more about how we convert people from those profile views into conversations or leads. But before we get there, I want to ask you one more question about how you spend your time. Then I'm assuming your LinkedIn profile is already set up. So what is a day or week in the life of Daniel look like on LinkedIn? What do you do?
LinkedIn is a way for me to keep in touch with people I was privileged to work with. I've signed up for LinkedIn early in February 2004, so it's been a long time. And it's very important for me to make sure I know who my connections are and what happens with them. So I try to visit my notifications and to check what happened. And if they started something new, I will check it out. And if they have their birthday coming up, I will try the biggest secret is to know when to leave the LinkedIn platform. In other
Yeah.
words, I see that you have something coming up. Instead of remaining within LinkedIn on August 15th, say it were your birthday, I would leave the LinkedIn platform, email you, and ask Mike, how have you been? And how has Boston treated you? It takes more time, but it creates or strengthens existing relations. And I think this is way, way more important than using tools.
I agree 100%. I have been teaching LinkedIn for, over about 10 years now. Ago was when my LinkedIn book was published for Sandler. And that was one of the things that I noticed is I think a lot of people that are not trained in sales or are not really savvy salespeople is they miss those opportunities, that the whole point of all of this activity is to start conversations with people. And so once messages start becoming a conversation and you're going back and forth, like pick up the phone, ask for a meeting, say, hey, we should get together, or that sounds interesting. Do you want to talk about it more, and learn how to take it offline as well? I like outside the platform that you mentioned, take it to email or a text message or something else. But even there, like I think the whole point is to develop relationships and conversations. And so anytime we can talk live, that saves a lot of time. And some people don't check LinkedIn that often either. I think is a common misconception that I see is people send messages and they go, oh, they never replied to me. Some people check LinkedIn every couple of years when they when they update their job profile or something. It's not one of those daily platforms for a lot of the reasons we've mentioned. So it's not a speedy communication. And people that are on there a lot, like you and I'm sure we get DMs and messages and comments that, sometimes I just miss. If you send me a message and it happened to be around my birthday, there's 75, 100, 200 other happy birthday messages automated on LinkedIn that I'm going to lose your message. So some really great tips there around, building connections, keeping track of the people you already know. You don't need 10,000 followers to get business out of LinkedIn. You need 150, 250 people that really know, like, and trust you and will refer you to other people. That's a big difference in strategy.
Absolutely, because if you know 200 people well, you can run an advanced search and find 15 or more clients than you can ever serve, and you'll be introduced to those people. And when 90% of my business is based around referrals.
Yeah.
So any referral is a warm lead. They're less price sensitive. They tend to stay with us longer. They tend to refer other people themselves. So it's really easy, and you can get a lot of business with 50 or 200 LinkedIn connections, and you might have 10,000 with zero revenues related to that. So the metrics, from my perspective at least, should be the business metrics, your banking accounts, your revenues, and not the LinkedIn account, not the LinkedIn metrics, not the number of followers you have, not the subscribers you have, not the quality, not the likes, not comments. Really build a system that feeds your machine. And circling back to the conversion usually happens better within our websites, because over there we have a whole system. People can sign up for your newsletter. They can do something that is more guarded, if you like. So just one word about the content you mentioned. Top of content, educational content is what works best for most people. You know what your prospects are struggling with. Try to educate them and help them take one baby step from point A to point B. And by that time, they will see that there's a whole new alphabet there they can discover, and they will ask you. You don't have to sell, they want to buy. How do we move to see now? Because you help them see the light.
I love that you outlined the top, middle, and bottom of the funnel there for us, because I think that's really powerful. When you think about social media, a lot of people think of the top of the funnel stuff and they try and drop straight to the bottom of the funnel. Like, how can I get 10,000 people, post a message about my new product, and then hope somebody clicks on the link and buys it? Which, again, maybe works if you're selling a $15 toy, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're selling a $1.5 million enterprise consulting package, nobody's going to click a link and buy it, or even click a link and sign up for your sales appointment. So I think I love what you laid out there. We're posting content that is top of the funnel stuff. It's educational. It's getting their awareness, drive them to check out our profile. From our profile, we got to get them off to other stuff, which could be light, could be heavy. It could be a white paper. It could be a meeting. You have a really cool offer that maybe somebody signs up for an hour consulting appointment at DanielAlfon.com. You also have online courses and stuff that are a few $100s that people can engage in. But I think people miss so much that they want to like create one post, have all their people see it, and then have them like call and say, hey, I'm ready to buy it. And that's not really the way this works at all. So
Right.
let's go back to the profile and talk to us about how you set this up, because I do think the profile is the page most people see that way more than they see any of your other posts and things.
Mm-hmm.
You Google yourself. It's always fun to do. One of the first things that'll come up, unless you have a website like MikeMontague.com or DanielAlfon.com, it'll be probably the first thing that comes up when somebody looks at you. What do we need to do on our profile to make sure that's set up to drive traffic to our website, or at least start conversations?
Cool. So I'd like to suggest 3 quick questions. The first question is, who's the ideal reader you'd like to attract? And I imagine that for most people viewing or listening to this, their ideal prospect is the answer. So 1, who's your ideal reader? And 2, like, if you could make those ideal readers visit your profile after they discover you and read your profile, what action would you like them to perform? And the answer may vary. Some people will say, go to my website, download this, go here, schedule a strategy call, whatever. But they know the answer. We know the answer. So all we have to do is make sure that when people visit our profile, they understand what we bring to the table, and they're able to contact us and to take the conversation outside of the LinkedIn platform. Like, when I visit your profile, I see the Avenue 9 Human First AI Marketing banner. I see a professional looking photograph. I see the headline that you used, and the headline is more interesting than your job title.
Right.
And so you took time to customize it, and it's important to do. So first, who's the ideal reader? 2, what action would you like those people to perform? If you had to pick one link, which link would that be? And 3, let's streamline the process and make sure it's easy for them to understand what the next step is.
I like that I'm getting free consulting on my LinkedIn profile here too. I will say, you mentioned on the headline the more than just your job title. I think I've actually kind of squeezed in 3, so I'd love your thoughts here. I think there are 3 ways to do this. Number 1 is I do like to put your job title and company first, as short as you can possibly do it, just because people want to know, did I find the right person? Is this the Mike Montague? Right. Might not be with your name, Daniel, but there's something like over 1,000 Mike Montagues in the world alive right now. So I want to make sure that if they're looking for me, they know that I'm the founder of Avenue 9 when they look at that and what I'm connecting of. Then what you said, I think another way is to talk to your target audience. What's your unique value, your unique proposition? What do you help people with, so that if they are not looking for you or they don't know what you did, help them in one sentence or as quick as you can figure out what you do for a living. Because a lot of us have these names now. I found one that was today when I was doing my LinkedIn outreach, something of like a Hivester AI or something like that was the thing. And I go, great, but AI doesn't mean anything, and I don't know what Hivestar stands for. So what do you do for a living is a great question to answer. And then I try to put in a couple of things that people are looking for, or credibility things. My keywords could be better right now, but I like to let people know, like, if they're searching for somebody, like a marketing agency, or when I've done different roles, I think it helps a lot too, of like, oh, is this an agency owner? Is this a podcaster? Am I looking for public speaking? Is a pretty good example. That I don't know if people search on LinkedIn or not, but even if they're searching on Google or something and they're looking for a public speaker from Boston or something, that there's a chance my profile will come up. In your experience, it seems like you lean towards number two, and the really who's it for and what you do kind of thing. But have you tested the others? Do you recommend combining them? What do you think?
It's not easy to combine them. I'd like to circle back to the thousands of Mike Montagues out there. There's a quick fix for that if you'd like. It's a bit some sort of guerrilla thinking, but what you could do, Mike, is actually tweak the URL itself. It could be Mike Montague AI. And if you change that, my guess is it will be free. It will be easy to do. And then you change in everything where you have your LinkedIn URL, you change it to Mike Montague AI or Avenue 9, or whatever you feel is going to stick with you for a long time. And that is the strong differentiator. You don't have to pay for that. You just have to think about ways to differentiate yourself and pick a topic or a keyword or a hook that will stay as much as you can. You don't want to change that every quarter.
That's great. And then let's talk about the buttons. I think a lot of people are not, I always fill out all my contact information. The whole point is to get people to contact me. So I know that means more spam, but I'm putting my cell phone number in there. I'm putting my real email address. I'm putting the link to my website, and I'm using that call to action button to feature that one clear step that I want people to take from here. So, any thoughts on that? I love that trick of changing the URL there. Do you have any tips or tricks, or what do you feel like is the best, maybe generic CTA there? I think for me, I want to start a relationship. So for me, it's always like a follow or a connect with me or subscribe to my podcast or my newsletter, because that's something that, like, I'm not going to jump on you. I don't need you to set a meeting. I'm not getting too thirsty here and trying to ask for a sale right away. Like, click this button to buy my product. I just want to make sure that I can get in front of you again. So if I can get you on an email newsletter, or somehow get you to follow my podcast, my content, my blog or something, that to me seems like now I'm going to get every week another chance to get you to that next stage. That's a good middle of the funnel content for me. What about for you? You got any tips or tricks or different ideas there?
No, I love it because most people simply forget that they hate when they face it, but they try to do it for other people. So when we visit your profile, the call to action we see is follow the Human First podcast, which is a very easy way for people to engage and to check you out and to listen to previous episode. And I just listened before our chat to the podcast, and in one of the recent conversations you had with Michael Ruckby about search and SEO in a post in AI terms, there were a lot of insights about photography. Photography, we think of photography as dead. But what you guys pointed out is that actually, when we think of the cameras, that market may be dead. But people are taking more pictures now than they've ever taken before. So defining the market as photography means the market is actually growing. Circling back to the question, you don't enter a bar and ask someone to marry you. People don't like that, and it smells funny. So start by making them see that you're human, and pick an easy choice to read, to listen, to watch you, and then they'll start the funnel and they will want to hear more from you. So I think your example is great. To follow the podcast is great. And if people listening don't have a podcast, think of a ways to help us understand watch your a keynote, go and check your books, see the credibility, the Amazon author page, anything that makes them understand that you're a real guy.
Yeah. Now, I generally, when I'm talking to people about LinkedIn, I just kind of tell them from there, just fill it out as completely and accurately and authentically as possible. From there, people like visual stuff, but I've kind of found my profile maybe to be a little too distracting. I've kind of filled in maybe too many featured profiles and posts and too many sections, and I'm wondering now as I really get focused on Avenue 9 if eliminating some of these publications and additional certifications and things like that might actually help narrow down on the right call to action. Do you have any advice here for the rest of the profile or anything else we can do on LinkedIn to get more conversations out of it?
So we don't want to distract people. So the easiest test would be when I visit your profile. Like there are a number of ways for me to visit your profile. One of them is listening to the podcast and then running a Google search or checking you out and visiting LinkedIn. But this means I know something about you. The second source could be if I speak with someone. If I speak with Carl Richards and he says you need to speak with Mike Montague, then I will visit your profile, but again, Carl's recommendation makes me read it more carefully. The toughest challenge is the search. If I run any search for AI agency, whatever, I will find hundreds, if not thousands, of results. So the first step is to make sure that I scroll. When I visit your profile, I need to scroll, and that boils down to a banner, a photo, and the headline, which we discussed. When we scroll, we see the About section and then the Services and the Featured section. So two quick questions. Can you identify any revenues coming from the services you offer on your LinkedIn page, on your LinkedIn profile?
Not specifically from anyone clicking on the LinkedIn, but the three services I list are the three that are 90% of my revenue there. Yeah.
Excellent. So let's scroll down some more to the featured section. When you include three featured elements, it means the images are thinner and we see less of the text. So if you had to pick one, instead of having number 2 and number 3, you could have like something that would be half the space we see, and we'll see the content that you shared, and people will see it and are likelier to convert if you pick the right one. So you could streamline the featured section, but if I scroll some more to the experience section, I think it's great. I think it's great. You tell a story. Okay, let me just read the first sentence. We're not just another AI company trying to build robots to replace you. We will help make you the hero. Now I'll continue to read because you piqued my curiosity. And I think that's something that's very, very important for people to understand. Storytelling within our profile is it's very important. Don't neglect it.
Yeah, I like where you're going. It sounds like I do need to trim a little bit. I just like we were talking about with my headline. I have a tendency to ask very complicated questions and ask three questions at once, but also trying to set up stuff for those three different types of users that you mentioned. Of like, okay, well, if you want to book me for a speaking gig and you're looking at my profile for speaking, that's different than if you're hiring me for consulting or for specific services or looking as an end user for the podcast or something. And so I do tend to overthink it and get confused, which is not unusual. I think a lot of people listening to this have the same problem. So I guess I'll give you one more crack at it, and then I want to ask you a fun question, Daniel. But anything I should have asked you or anything you would like to share with the audience about making the most out of LinkedIn or growth hacking in general?
I think that by listening to your podcast, it's become even stronger for me to understand the human first aspect of it. And I suspect the risks are going to be higher, and we're more and more tempted to forget about the human factor, and because it's possible, we'll do that. So my suggestion would be to remain at the control booth and make sure that we use the tools as assistants and not as masters.
Yeah, love that. Great stuff there for sure, especially when it comes to LinkedIn automation tools. I know we both already warned you about that earlier, but I think the final thought from me is we don't necessarily need more. I know everybody loves the number go up metric. We need more followers. We need more leads. We want more conversations. We want more sales. Of course we do. But sometimes better and faster deals or more profitable deals or better connections with a small group of people creates better results than weak connections with thousands of people. So take that for what you will and think about it. Now, Daniel, the fun question we like to end with is, if you had to predict 30 years out in the future, how do you think AI and all of this plays out? Is LinkedIn still around? Have we circled back to only selling and talking to humans because there's so many AI robots and spammers out there? Or have we all retired and moved to the beach on some sort of universal basic income because we don't need to work anymore? What do you think?
Wow. So between the Black Mirror scenario and the fact that it has a lot of great advantages, the truth is we cannot even predict, because we humans try to see it in a linear way. We understand the pace is accelerating, but we can't really see and even imagine what happens. It's a thrilling period every day. I'm sure listening to this, not in 30 years, but in 30 days, may make me see why. There's so many things that changed since we last spoke. I want to end on a positive note. People are looking at machines, at the steam engine, at cars. There were always people who said that it's going to take our work. And it has taken or made some people redundant, but it created a lot of wealth and opportunities to use our minds in a better way and to work on things that are less manual. So let's hope that this trend continues instead of having a doom scenario.
I agree. I think the answer is probably somewhere in between a Black Mirror episode and like Star Trek: The Next Generation. That it'll be a little messy. It won't be one or the other. It'll be all of the above. And there you go. We like to save the ice cream content for the end of the show, after you've had your meal and ate your vegetables and listened to all our tips about LinkedIn. Then we give you the ice cream content about Black Mirror and the future. So Daniel, how can you help us, or how can we help you?
It's been a pleasure to speak with you, and anyone wanting to see some LinkedIn content, articles, or guides is welcome to check my website. That's danielalfon.com.
The book, How to Build a LinkedIn Profile for Business Success, is available on Amazon. You can check that out as well. The website, danielalfon.com, and I'll put a special link in there as well for a conversation with Daniel if you would like to have one. Until next time, for Avenue 9, you can go to avenue9.com. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, share it with somebody that you think needs to hear it. Reach out to me if you're looking to build your own thought leadership, connect with a community, have real conversations with real humans, and use AI to amplify the messages that you want to share to the right people and not just create more AI slop. Go to avenue9.com. Until then, keep going. Have fun, everybody.